I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start, but as we saw, he came to my ears and whispered, "Please be easy on me." He thought I'm Mike Tyson and I will follow his script 40 seconds after I broke the clown's jaw. We are boxers, not content creators.
Like, they're suing me for something I didn't do. It's just the most bullshit thing. And I literally had to pay them a lot of fucking money.
So Jake Paul's world just flipped upside down, and I'm talking about way more than just getting dropped by Joshua. This dude is now staring at a Netflix lawsuit that could completely destroy everything he's built in boxing. Wait, let me take you back, because just hours before lawyers started circling, this whole thing was being sold as Jake's big moment to prove he belonged with the real fighters. Now it looks like that same night just exposed how shaky his entire operation really was.
I heard that Gervonta Davis was being very difficult to work with and Netflix was just waiting for a reason.
Yeah, we think he broke his jaw. He's fine. We met with Netflix afterwards. He took a shower. He drove himself to the hospital. A broken jaw is very common in sports, particularly in boxing or MMA, and I think the recovery time from the...
When Netflix decides to sue Jake Paul, that's not some petty drama. That's $1 billion streaming giant saying they got burned by betting on someone who promised control but delivered complete chaos instead. You could feel the shift the second Joshua walked out of that ring, because this wasn't supposed to be some YouTube stunt. This was real money, real executives, real global attention. And when platforms that big feel like they got played, they don't send angry emails, they send lawyers.
Anthony Joshua didn't throw a single straight right hand for 6 rounds.
Look how fast everything changed. One moment, Jake's walking in with all that manufactured confidence cranked up to maximum, talking about legitimacy and respect. The next moment, executives are supposedly asking why their expensive investment just turned into medical emergencies and canceled future events. And here's what should really worry you. Word is getting out that what Netflix thought they were buying and what they actually got were two completely different things. Someone knows exactly how this all went sideways.
I was like, wow, that was nice. I was on the ground, I was like, that was a good shot.
Did he surprise you with his power?
To be honest, no, but I mean...
Anthony Joshua didn't just win that fight, he completely dismantled the entire illusion. Once Joshua started working, every promise Jake had made got put under serious examination. This wasn't some washed-up celebrity or YouTube personality stepping up. This was a legitimate heavyweight destroyer. And watching Jake start to retreat instead of engage, you could see the fear building up, steady and unstoppable.
Looks like Jake Paul is trying to bait him into something, but he's the one that's hit the canvas twice in this round. Incredible.
The experience difference turned into a public dismantling. Joshua barely had to try. That's the scary part, because it shows the danger was always there, just waiting. When a real champion decides to take his time instead of rushing for highlights, it means he already knows how this story ends. He's just picking the perfect moment to finish it. That moment came crashing down in round 5 like a hammer.
I love this shit, and I'm gonna come back and get a world championship belt at some point.
Are you surprised you went 6 rounds with the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion?
Honestly, I'm not surprised. I just got tired, to be honest.
Those knockdowns did more than put Jake on the canvas. They shattered the whole fantasy. These weren't random lucky punches. This was exhaustion, panic, and punishment, all adding up. By round 6, it wasn't about heart or determination anymore. It was pure survival, and your body can't lie, even when your brand tries to.
I'm a little fucked up, but will you take care of me forever and ever?
I'm sorry, talking crap to you here. I won't be talking to you.
I think I pissed him off. What were you telling him? I was just saying fuck him.
That broken jaw became the breaking point, because you can't social media your way out of titanium plates and reconstructive surgery. Watching Jake try to turn hospital visits into content was when everyone finally saw through it. Real confidence earned through years of work looks nothing like borrowed confidence that just got repoed by reality.
Yeah. I just pissed him off. Then he broke my brother's jaw. Yeah, he broke his jaw.
Yeah?
You don't care, Jake's having a fucking blast.
We'll see him back again for sure?
Yeah.
Now here's the explosive part everyone's avoiding. Netflix didn't just lose one fight night, they reportedly lost their entire future plan. That canceled Gervonta Davis fight wasn't just talk, that was infrastructure, marketing deals, sponsor commitments, projected revenue streams. When that gets yanked without warning, streaming platforms don't call it a personal decision, they call it contract violation.
Look, it wasn't the best performance. It wasn't the best. The end goal was to get Jake Paul, pin him down, and hurt him.
A $100 million lawsuit doesn't happen because of misunderstandings. It happens because of deliberate choices. The word intentional keeps showing up in these reports, and that should terrify anyone who understands business agreements. Intentional means you saw the consequences coming and chose to ignore them anyway. If they can prove that, it doesn't just hurt Jake's bank account, it destroys his credibility with every serious promoter watching this unfold.
Thank you very much. I'm here with the winner, Anthony Joshua. Anthony, congratulations on the win. How would you describe that fight?
Well, first of all, I want to give love to the crowd, everyone that came out. I really do appreciate everyone in this venue.
Think about this logically. Why would Netflix blow up a relationship that profitable unless something major went wrong behind the scenes? The confident public face disappeared instantly, and suddenly, we're talking about legal documents instead of boxing matches. When corporate lawyers replace boxing gloves, the real fight is already over.
Because it's a civil lawsuit, and it's just allegations, it's not criminal, so there must be some.
This is where the damage goes deeper than just losing to Joshua. Losing the trust of major platforms is career poison. Sponsors don't make dramatic announcements when they leave. They just quietly disappear. Future negotiations start colder, contracts get stricter, terms get worse. Once you're branded as unreliable, that reputation follows you no matter how loud your fans scream.
Jake Paul, he's done really well tonight. I want to give him his props. He got up time and time again. It was difficult in there for him, but he kept on trying to find a...
What keeps bothering me is how relaxed Joshua looked after everything ended. Confident winners don't feel the need to threaten anyone. Yet Netflix didn't just walk away, they escalated to lawsuits, which suggests this isn't about wounded pride. This is about control slipping away, and someone desperately trying to grab it back before more secrets come out.
I don't like it. Even Anthony Joshua had some class and, apologized to me.
Did he really?
Yeah. He worked his way through the crowd and came up to me and said, "Mom, just know it's just boxing.
He said it's the fight game.
It's just the fight game."
Don't sleep on the rumors about other fighters causing problems too. When multiple names start getting mentioned in the same conversations, it usually means contracts were already stretched to breaking point. One collapse exposed weaknesses everywhere. When one deal falls apart, every other agreement gets examined with a microscope for protection. The most terrifying part is this story isn't close to finished. Legal warfare drags on for years, and discovery phases get messy fast. When private emails, text messages, and internal communications get dragged into public view, carefully crafted narratives die instantly. If Jake thinks this ends with a few headlines, he's completely misreading what's coming because this is about to get much uglier before it gets quiet. So sit with that uncomfortable feeling, because the fight didn't actually end in round 6. It just moved to a different arena. Now the pressure isn't coming from heavyweight right hand. It's coming from corporate memory and legal systems that never get tired, never slow down, just keep grinding until something finally breaks completely. I don't think we've seen the last explosion yet. What really hits you after processing all of this is that the Joshua fight wasn't the actual problem. It was just the spark that lit everything on fire. Systems don't collapse from one punch unless they were already cracking under pressure. Everything surrounding Jake Paul's boxing empire had been stretched dangerously thin long before that night happened. The gap between talking big and actually delivering is the common thread connecting everything. Talking big can sell tickets and generate headlines all day long, but actually delivering is what keeps business partners calm and confident. The moment Joshua exposed that gap in brutal fashion, every stakeholder stopped dreaming about bigger events and started calculating damage control costs. There's a massive difference between losing a sports competition and disrupting an entire corporate strategy. Fighters lose contests all the time, that's normal. But when a fighter becomes the central pillar of a platform's strategy, their personal choices suddenly carry massive institutional consequences. Netflix didn't dive into boxing for entertainment or chaos. They entered for predictable profits at massive scale. Betting on an unpredictable personality only works when that unpredictability stays contained and doesn't leak into contracts, scheduling, and advertiser relationships. What makes this situation even more serious is Jake wasn't marketed as some experimental underdog. He was positioned as a foundational piece, connecting traditional boxing with modern digital audiences. When foundations crumble, nobody talks about how impressive they looked while standing. They just start over somewhere else. The Joshua fight destroyed the illusion that Jake could control results through preparation and determination alone, but this lawsuit threatens something much deeper: the belief that he can control narratives after disasters happen. Legal proceedings don't care about social media framing or clever spin. Once lawyers take over, everything slows to a crawl, and that slowdown is toxic in combat sports where momentum equals money. Fighters need clarity to train properly. They need certainty to make plans. Audiences need belief to stay emotionally invested. None of those things survive extended legal uncertainty very well. Another harsh reality is that money protected Jake from real consequences for too long. Protection from consequences is dangerous because when mistakes don't immediately hurt, the lessons never fully register. That creates a cycle of taking the same risks at bigger and bigger scales until something finally breaks that can't be fixed. Joshua represented Jake's athletic ceiling, but Netflix represents his commercial ceiling. Hitting both walls in rapid succession forces a reality check that can't be solved with social media posts or clever marketing campaigns. There's also a shift happening in how crossover boxing gets perceived by audiences. People are getting better at separating novelty entertainment from legitimate competition. Once that line gets drawn clearly, it becomes much harder for future projects to blur it again successfully. What's really striking is how quickly the conversation changed from debating Jake's courage to questioning his professional reliability. Courage is subjective and personal. Reliability is binary and measurable. You either show up as promised or you don't. The lawsuit narrative reframes the Joshua loss as part of a bigger pattern instead of an isolated incident. Patterns are what corporations respond to, not individual mistakes. This entire situation also reveals how little room exists for improvisation once you reach massive scale. What feels like creative independence at smaller levels feels like dangerous recklessness when hundreds of millions of dollars are at risk. There's a quiet warning here for fighters chasing influence and celebrity. Influence amplifies failures just as much as it amplifies success. The higher you climb, the less tolerance there is for unpredictable behavior from business partners. Jake's entire brand was built on disruption and chaos, but disruption without underlying structure eventually terrifies the same partners who initially enabled it. That's the impossible paradox he's facing right now. The boxing industry has an elephant's memory when it comes to business relationships. Reputations aren't just built inside the ring, they're built in boardrooms where decisions about future opportunities quietly get made behind closed doors. Even if this legal situation gets resolved favorably, the perception damage sticks around. Promoters and platforms don't forget who made their professional lives more difficult, especially when safer alternatives are readily available. What makes this moment feel so unresolved is that it exists at the intersection of sports, entertainment, and corporate power structures. Those intersections rarely produce clean, simple endings that everyone walks away from satisfied. The next decision Jake makes will matter more than any social media post or interview because it will signal whether he truly understands the magnitude of what he's dealing with now, or if he still believes noise and attention can substitute for professional trust and reliability. At this point, the biggest question isn't whether Jake can come back from the Joshua loss. It's whether the business infrastructure around him can survive the aftershocks of everything that followed.